too much to worry about overall in the timings. Maybe you drag it on a little bit more for the Naga, but it does feel like with just Manta style up, you're kind of set to join in some skirmishes.
Well, let's get into it. Game number 1 here between NGXE and Polaris. Jonathan, you know you know what you need to do. 4 predictions, please, for the questions at hand for the viewers at home. What are we predicting?
Trees destroyed. This is a tree destruction game. 301, I suppose. We've seen that a couple of times. Most Roshan kill. It's going to lean towards Polaris for that one. First time of tower destruction. 8 to 11 minutes sounds about right. Total number of player deaths at game end. This one can be a bit awkward because it feels like a longer game. I do expect some skirmishes. It's like on the cusp of 55 and plus 55, but 41 to 55 is probably a safe hedging bet.
Thank you for that, John. I agree with most of your choices there. Thank you for that. Doubt there's a first blood to come out yet. I mean, level 1 timings for both teams not very good. Then again, I suppose you do have a Primal Beast, but he's gone for the level 1 Uproar, so not really going to do much for him. Mizu, tanky boy and the Underlord in the top bounty rune spot. Probably not too worried about getting ganked here. More heroes incoming from Polaris. They're going to try and bully Mizu out of here, and should be successful in doing so. Force will also get bullied over the bot spot as, no, never mind. NGXE, they go back in. They'll get a 3-for-1 trade, so a very nice start on their end of things. Very slight net worth lead to go their way. And let's start off with the mid lane, of course. You're going to have Alacrity on that mid Batrider. He's going to be up against the mid Pango of Lelouch. Must say, John, I do love seeing Lelouch on this mid Pango. He does tend to do a fantastic job. Against the Batrider, is this a favorable matchup for Lelouch, or should Alacrity have the advantage?
I feel like Alacrity should have a pretty good time. Lelouch is kind of set up with the early magic stick, gonna go for the bottle and the wand, but Alacrity's gonna have a lot of room to just harass. Now, Lelouch can have a little bit of play with a swash and with the shield crash, but he has to be careful about copying too much damage from the Batrider. And of course, Alacrity knows how a Batrider plays. He's played against Batrider in multiple lanes before. He knows the ins and outs of this hero now.
Yeah, not the most fun hero to have to try and play against, that's for sure. Lelouch probably will have a very similar experience, though, on his own end of things. Should have a look at the side lanes as well, see what the hell's going on there. Of course, top lane, there's a creep pull going on here from Joe Camp. AU trying to harass him away, but not going to keep up with him really on the jet. You're going to have Natsumi and Mizu there going at it as well. Natsumi just trying to control the creep equilibrium, but Mizu going to bully him back towards the tier 1 tower. So he's not going to be able to hold that dire creep wave, and we'll try to cut it off anyway. And we'll make it very, very nice.
Yeah, you don't mind this too much for Natsumi. He does miss out on a couple of creeps, but he's not going to be easy to bully out. He's got the illusions to kind of tank through the creep wave if need be. You are giving Mizu a lot of room to kind of just farm up here, and his soul ring shouldn't be too far off. So that timing is going to be key for Mizu. You've got some decent combinations with Nyx. I like that Jokam is just playing greedier. Stealing creep waves, soaking up EXP as you'd want on the Nyx assassin. Tends to be what, you know, the kind of the downside of this hero is that you will want to soak and play greedier. But he is being allowed to. There's not much AU can really do to stop that. His camps are all blocked. So he doesn't have any good creeps to take unless he dips up onto the upper part of his jungle. And without any creep, the Chen just doesn't do as much just yet.
Of course, you're looking at that bot lane as well here. John Xavius, he was copying a lot of damage from Boom Boy. In your dream, gonna move in. Force now really copying it. We'll go for the uproar. Does have a skill point if he wishes to go for the onslaught, but we'll hold it out for now. Bit of a rough affair already down at this bot lane for Polaris, but it's mostly due to the fact that you are up against the Lich lane. He is out of mangoes now, to be fair, on Boom Boy, so he's not gonna have as much spam ability with that Frost Blast any longer. So Polaris should be able to kind of even out the lane, though Boom Boy does bring one more mango out. Force, he's going to cop a fair bit of damage out of this in your dream. Not getting lucky with the bashes, though, so can't really finish off the job. But he does make sure Force does remain rather low on the Primal Beast as he does go in again. Boom Boy, unable to get in range for another Frost Blast.
Yeah, this lane is really good for In Your Dream. This is exactly what you want to see for your safe lane Void. Just have the farm going, you know, kind of harass out. He gets a couple of lucky bashes onto Force, and Force can't actually play that aggressive. They've got this nice stun set up for the Primal Beast to kind of just get the trample off or the onslaught off. Not really seeing the opportunity to do so. And with how low he is, you're probably not going to see that anytime soon. He does have a lot of creeps, range creeps to actually clear out, so the EXP is flowing here for Force. That's probably all you want in the Primal Beast right now. You understand that this is a tough lane. Just try to hit your level 4, level 5, and that's when you can start to play tag.
Mizu, not playing to be chased down. AU going for the penitence as well. Very nice ability to have when you've got a Naga Siren Pos 1 against Underlord. You can really abuse that penitence. And Mizu, not going to be able to be held down yet. Natsumi doesn't have any points in ensnare, so you can't maximize the penitence, but still does have its value here against Mizu. Speaking of Natsumi, he's having a pretty decent time on this Naga. Practically free farming here against the Underlord. Is AU going to show up again? But Jokam will be there to cut him off, as they won't try to get any more aggressive onto this Underlord quite yet. No first blood being drawn yet either between these two teams. Both sides getting rather close, especially down a bot lane, but not quite close enough.
Yeah, just playing tag, poking and prodding, but not overcommitting. I think both sides understand just how much can open up off the back of some early aggression. If it goes wrong for either side, it's going to be a big opening for the opposite team. So they just play it safe, get their levels up, get their farm up. I think the big difference is, as it tends to be when these lanes are rather even, is going to be the mid, and that's still really even as well. You are seeing Alacrity just get slightly ahead, has more denies under his belt, should be able to ride into the 6 timing very nicely. You are getting some good stack action going with AU here though, so he's managing to build that jungle up for Natsumi to farm in it. And there's nothing to scout that out just yet from NGX. That's one of the benefits of Polaris' lineup, though.
He's gone too far this time. Not expecting Xavier to be right around the corner, and now in your dream, you're going to cop the onslaught, but we'll be okay to time walk away. First blood, it is going to go the way of Xavier on the pos for Venge.
Yeah. That's a big opening out. Force was very patient with his skill points. He only got like 2 points in Uproar when he was 3, holds on to the rest, and goes for the 1-1 at 4, and sees that opening to be aggressive. So some punishment coming out. You are putting a little bit of a dent in Your Dreams farm with how aggressive they can be here on Polaris' end. They managed to just put him slightly below Natsumi, and that's pretty good news. The Naga Siren farms a lot faster than Void in the jungle, even without any itemization. So as long as you give Natsumi a nice little padded start, it should build up later on into the mid-game.
Mid lane, Alacrity, trying to lay Lush. Swashbuckle is available. Alacrity could keep trying with the Flame Break and will do so. Lasso also available, so this will be a massive pick-off. It's Alacrity able to take out the mid Pango and even secures himself a power rune. That'll be a double damage towards that Bat Rider.
And it's, again, one of the benefits out for NGX is that they could leave Mizu. So Jokam can make the rotation. There's no threat of dying on the Underlord. You can just keep shoving in the land. Mizu right now number 1 in CS, just clearing out the creep wave every time. And Jokam's got the room to just be impactful. Level 4 up in Nyx, level 2 Impale, pretty big spikes. Lush a level down, no roll to threaten back. Full level lead for Alacrity as he's approaching level 7. And for Polaris, that means a lot. Alacrity can be the aggressor here. He's gonna have to be the guy that buys space out for In Your Dream, force out the movement with the travels, and he's gonna have a good timing into that.
1-1 so far. Very even start to both sides. Actually, Mizu top of the CS board along with Alacrity, so in terms of CS, a very good time so far for NGXC. Speaking of mid lane, they do force the Rolling Thunder away from Lelouch just to make sure he does survive all the sticky napalm that was being stacked up here on the Pango. Just fine this time around. Meanwhile, top, Natsumi really starting to struggle against that Naga Siren. Excuse me, rather against the Underlord as the Naga Siren. As on Natsumi, he will salve up now. That Firestorm, though, this early on, it is quite a painful experience here for Natsumi. The illusion's not going to last for now. You need to tank up a little bit more to really get through that Firestorm, and Mizu, he's having a very good game.
He's certainly just making this lane hellish for Natsumi, but again, Natsumi's still having a bit of a better time in comparison to In Your Dream. So you don't mind that too much. The jungle is still kind of there for you, although I believe AO did clear out some stacks. So yeah, kind of prioritizing that early mech. He's invading the jungle, forcing movements out from Alacrity and Jokam.
He is. AU. A bit of danger here. Alacrity going to punish AU for this positioning. We'll take him out. Nice sort of pick up once again from the Bat Rider. Meanwhile, bottom, in your dream, going to try and get aggressive onto Xavius, but the turnaround is there with the stun out. But do they have the control? The onslaught barely connects. In your dream, unable to get the time walk off in time. That's a big pick off for Polaris.
They managed to find the big one. Again, keep slowing down in your dream. He's trying to go for a Midas, just by how slow his farm is. He understands he's got to try to hit certain timing here, as the Naga can just kind of be overwhelming in the mid game and just cut off any chance for you to build up, just be massive in the late game with Chrono. So any single stall coming out for In Your Dream just hurts the gameplay of NGX. They're trying to be aggressive up top, they're trying to force the response out, but Polaris aren't quite biting the bait. I mean, Lelouch shows up, he does have the roll, but Natsumi is already just in the jungle, as we saw earlier. They're just getting some space out to farm. And we do have our classic C lag pause.
What was that I saw? Yeah, lag. Yeah, that's about it. It's all lag. They're good now. We'll get it back underway. Top lane, Lelouch is ready to try and defend, but Alacrity, very strong position on that Batrider. Is going to try and move in as Lelouch. Swashbuckle away, might need to pop that Rolling Thunder, but he'll wait for Xavius to try and turn back around. Now with the Rolling Thunder onto the Batrider. Alacrity will just kind of run around in circles, avoiding Lelouch and go for the lasso. Onto the Ven, Xavius, though somehow still running, does go down, but here comes Force with the onslaught and the trample, but the Impale is going to cancel off the Pulverize, and Alacrity will make it out. Instead, they'll have to try and focus down Jokam. Jokam eventually will die to AU on the Chen. Boomboy also being chased down here by Force and that Primal Beast. They should find another support, and they will. Not too bad of a trade for Polaris, though they would have loved to find that mid-Batrider as well.
Yeah, it would have been big if they found Alacrity there and put a dent on his progression on the Batrider. He's been having a pretty damn good game. Travel's already up on the Bat, been impactful around the map, and has just been buying space. They're forcing fights away from In Your Dream. They're securing his sort of start, trying to get his farm up into the Midas, into the Maelstrom. And Polaris just hasn't been focusing as much on him since that one gank down bot. Same thing happens for Polaris though. Natsumi is away from these fights, jungling up, building up, double Wraith Band, power treads into the Manta style. So this has a smooth ride into building up. Like, they've got massive stacks. Naga doesn't take too long to clear them out. Doesn't need to tank through all that much as well with illusions. So you're fairly happy. Lelouch though has to be a bit cautious. Jokam does have the Vendetta up.
He does. Jokam, he'll stalk the Pango, but AU is around the corner just in case he needs it. Like, AU might be the one in trouble now. There's no sentry to detect Jokam here. Pings out from the Nyx, but nobody really coming to help out. So AU can just continue being kind of greedy here in this left side of the Dire jungle. No punishment yet as Jokam, almost within sentry range, is going to go for the stun out, and there's your Dark Portal being committed by Mizu. Force Staff, rather Hurricane away from AU, not going to be enough yet. They should be able to take him down, but no, the Hand of God! AU barely surviving for now, still trying to run. Look at the stuns out from the Chen. Jokam, he'll get locked down. Alacrity trying to get back towards the Dark Rift is not going to make it. He's gone. AU, Hand of God just in the nick of time. And just the control with these centaurs, it's never fun.
No, they go all in on that for NGX. They sacrifice Alacrity, they try to play around with that Fiend's Gate, and it just doesn't pan out. You have to be careful about overcommitting. They didn't have the best forward vision there on the high ground. They only really had Boomboy scouting around with the Vend. So they couldn't tell if there's anyone to back them up on the top jungle side. They couldn't tell if there was any TPs coming in, and they just get severely punished. AU showing us why early investment in Shen is good. Mech is pretty busted when you get it sub 15 minutes.
Absolutely, it certainly is. Meanwhile, Midas pick up here from In Your Dream. Not going for the Maelstrom rush. Feels like he needs the Midas to catch his way up. It's going to mean he's probably going to be lacking some damage in these Chronos, at least for the early to mid game, but it's the choice we make. In Your Dream still smoked up here with his team. Does have Boomboy behind him, so if you can land like a two-man Chrono into a Chain Frost, it's basically two heroes dead. Can still kind of abuse that kind of timing. They're not going to find anyone in that Dire jungle though. Polaris, back off, very good game sense, and they will smoke up as 3. They'll head down towards the Radiant jungle instead. The only target really around that Radiant jungle is going to be Alacrity on that Bat Rider, though. He is a big target, to be fair. Can they catch him, however? They won't spot him out yet. They'll head down towards the bot tier 1 instead, where Mizu is trying to defend that tier 1 tower. Rolling Thunder Lelouch. He's going to rush in. Mizu has a TP available, but really has no way out of this. He could try for the Fiend's Gate. He's still trying to fight this one out with the Firestorm. He's very tanky. AU, he just found Jokam, takes him out. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, NGXE, they're all here just trying to at least find the Chen, and they will. A 1-for-1 in the end. And so Mizu does prove to be tanky enough. He'll survive through all of this, and the whole team is there to back him up.
They drag 4 heroes out, and that just frees up so much room for you to still farm up a Natsumi, for you to split off as Lelouch, knowing that there are no TPs to catch you off with a gank. Mizu is going away to reset a bit. He does have the Fiend's Gate ready, and he has the Atos up, so more hold coming out. Have to say, I mean, the guts on AU to just stand there, surround with the creeps, find pretty much a solo kill by himself. Like, yeah, he sacrifices his army, which is honestly a good amount of gold going the way of NGX, but you cut off the Nyx from setting up, right? Because your big setup here on NGX is that Impale out from Jokam. And if he's not around to do it, you're just going to rely on a very big Chrono out from In Your Dream, which he's not ready to commit, not with just the Midas up. So they cut off any avenue for a counterfight, and Polaris just goes back to farming. This is exactly what they want for Natsumi, still number 1.
That he is. That's the thing, as the Void, chances are you're never going to really keep up with the Naga. Just Natsumi going to be able to farm way too quick with all these mirror images flying out across the map. Again, even later on, like, it does feel like the Naga is somewhat of a counter towards the Void. Not a very fun matchup here for IYD. Bit of a rotation from NGXE down towards the bottom side of the map, but no real chance of trying to defend the bottom tier 1 tower any longer. And now Polaris, understanding this is their side of the map now, will make their way over. There are some decent wards being placed here by NGXE to keep vision of all this. Jokam will move on to Xavius. Impale's going to land. They'll find themselves a Venge. Xavius still surviving for a little bit longer, but eventually will drop. But Lelouch is going to come in and find a trade. They will commit the ulti of the Primal Beast, pulverize Jokam, and take him down.
Yeah, again, not the biggest kills to trade out, just your pause force kind of disappearing, but it is buying space, and it still feels like the space investment is much bigger for Natsumi, just because he farms so much faster. Once In Your Dream has a Maelstrom up, it can feel a little bit better for the Void. He can sort of match that farming pace, although Naga still works the camps a lot faster. You're also stalling out for some key timings. Alacrity is working towards his BKB, has the Aether Lens up, and it won't.
Top lane Alacrity, he is going to drop very quick. And Natsumi takes care of it, tips out from Force. He's got the Manta up, so he's got plenty of damage on this Naga.
Yeah, and it's just not just that. Alacrity was overly confident. He thought he could walk up, lasso, pull back, get some TPs on the tier 1, and find a kill. Natsumi just reminds him that's an illusion-based hero. It's not easy to find a main one once you dispel it's off, and they just don't commit.
So, nice swap in from Xavius. They've got the Underlord locked down. And all these stuns coming out from AU. There's no escaping this one, surely. They'll get him this time. Chain Frost committed. Xavier still not dead. Surely goes down, still bouncing around, but it's not lucky. They'll at least find him in the end. But what's it going to cost NGXE for this? Lelouch does find Jokam on the Nyx Assassin. The tier 1 tower does get protected by NGXE at the least, so they hold on to the tier 1. But it's a terrible team fight for the Radiant.
No, it's not what you want to see. Again, the only good news for NGX, the only positive thing is In Your Dreams farming. And he does have the Maelstrom, the pace kicks up, but Natsumi still has a way better time. We've got to see them try to play around with this early spike on Alacrity. I mean, just the Aether Lens alone should allow some pretty good angles for Lasso, but without the blink, it does feel really tough. And there's the Venge counter anyway with a swap. So just how much you get out from trying to lasso someone as long as Xavius is around is also hard to say. The ideal is really just Jokam scouting through with a Vendetta, but there are so many sentries around from Polaris, at least in the top jungle, that getting a Nyx to scout out is just not that feasible.
Damage rune spotted at the top side. Xavius. Gonna hand that over to Lelouch. Meanwhile, the mid-tier 1 tower just slowly being chipped away at here. We protected by Joe Cam, but those illusions proving to be very annoying already. And Natsumi already has 2.7k in the bank account, ready to go whenever. He'll queue up that Eye of Skadi now. Pretty standard kind of build up here for the Naga Siren. Meanwhile, towards the south, AU's gonna get caught out, but he does get that top tier 1 tower. So he gives his life up. He'll take an objective for it. I don't know if you call that worth, John. To me, it does seem worth.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, the map control's a lot bigger than the hero itself. Respawn's fairly short anyway for your Chen, so he's gonna be back up and ready to annoy. The creep army getting gone is probably the bigger loss, but well, we haven't seen AO really struggle with that. None of the camps are blocked up here from the side of NGX. They're not really dipping into that jungle because of the control Polaris has, so you should get that build up once more. 7-11, 3k up here for the side of Polaris. And
actually protected the creep army, by the way. They're still in the tree line. Look at that. There they are.
Oh, they are. There they are. He hit him away. Very nice. All right, so not even a major loss. Nothing lost. Nothing of value lost. Who cares about the Chen?
Oh, hold that thought, John. You may have fed them now. In your dream's going to show up. Hurricane push him back. Time walk forward, though. Never mind what I said, Jonathan. Never mind what I said.
You cursed him. You know, he had it alive. He goes for a push. It dies out. He keeps the purge creep. That's pretty nice. That's actually a really good creep to keep, because, you know, spawning on the small camps is a little bit harder because you only really have 1 or 2 left. So I think that's all right, and AU should be fine. He gets a net creep now as well. This game does not get any easier as it scales late. It's not one of those games where the Void just outscales everyone, right? We've talked about this multiple times, but there are counters. Venge is a good counter. Naga is a pretty good counter, although the BKB here from In Your Dream should provide a buffer now, and you will rely on mainly just Avenge for the most part to get that done. But still, it's not like you're going to chrono out Avenge. As long as Xavius keeps his spacing right, which he has been, then chrono is not going to feel amazing. And that's something that NGX has to be very wary about. Maybe just BKB timing on Alacrity and In Your Dream will enable them to play, but it does feel like you're letting a Naga farm way too much here.
It's like, what do you do about it, though? You know, like, she's just going to song and walk away every time you try to jump Natsumi. And yeah, Skadi, it's very close to being up now. It's about 100 gold away here for Natsumi. No stopping him now. In Your Dream at least does have the Maelstrom working in towards the BKB. Don't believe we've actually seen a chrono this game yet, so there is going to be a smoke out. Maybe try to force a fight, get that on cooldown, and maybe get a few kills for yourself. Very awkward timing, though. Into the Wraith Pact of Xavius and the Skadi of Natsumi. I don't know if this is the team fight you want, but they're going to try and rush up. Rolling Thunder is there, though, right onto that next assassin In Your Dream. He caught 2 of them in that chrono, but does he have damage? He'll go for the Wraith Pact instead of aiming for Xavius, and now the turnaround's there on the Void.
Oh, no.
Well, you've got to make a decision, but it's a pretty hard one to make. Force, he won't be able to find the Lich. It won't matter. They're on to Mizu instead. They'll get the Underlord. That's rough. That is a very rough team fight again for NGXC. And that's what I mentioned. Like, you just bought the Wraith Pact on Xavius. They didn't see it yet. They didn't have the vision. I understand why he aims it down in Chrono, because it just reduces so much damage, but at the same time, Chrono for a Wraith Pact, it just doesn't seem worth.
No, definitely not. And he was forced to immediately chrono without even seeing Naga. He just wanted to take Xavius out. He knew that it's a high priority target, but you don't find a kill. You get chain stunned. A really good flank coming out from Natsumi to get the root off. With a fresh Skadi, I mean, he just does so much damage. Into the heart. Again, as we've seen from China, from Low, I believe, like this Skadi heart timing is just ridiculous. He will not have enough damage out from NGX. And with the Aegis to protect, like with that secondary, the song on the second life, I mean, it just doesn't feel like you're ready. You need these BKBs up. They need some time for that on NGX.
Yeah, that you do. Here we go again. Mizu gonna be in trouble. Jokam, Impel is there onto the Naga, but she's still very healthy. With that Aegis up, she is not dropping anytime soon as Mizu. He's in such big trouble. Meanwhile, Force slamming his hands on the ground is what that looked like as Mizu still running. is tanky, but when he's by himself and surrounded, not tanky enough. He will drop.
Yeah, 7 to 15, 9k lead for Polaris, 23 minutes in, already onto the high ground, and I don't see them backing off with the Sages for 4 minutes. There's just nothing to stop Natsumi. I mean, Chrono's on cooldown, they've got Lasso, but who's going to follow up from your Lasso? It doesn't feel like anyone's ready to play.
They'll try to delay things with Alacrity's Flame Break, but that's about all he can do right now. Glyph will force them back. They'll pay respect. They don't want to throw this game. It is certainly Polaris' game to lose. 9k ahead. They will just wait it out and just control the map. I think just draft-wise, they're just so confident that in the end, this Void, it's just going to take so much for him to be able to take on the Naga Siren. So much.
Yeah, it takes a lot of investment. And I think even down the line, if Natsumi manages to find, say, an Ags for himself, like Ensnare through Spell Immunity, means that you really don't care for the Void. As long as you're not in the Chrono, and as we've seen from Natsumi, he's not standing in the front line. It's Lelouch mainly up there, it's Xavius, it's the supports copying that initiation. And if Natsumi stands outside, I mean, you just ensnare through the BKB, suddenly the Chrono is still not impactful, even if you catch Xavius. And speaking of Xavius, he's working onto Zags. So even if he is a sacrifice, with that secondary illusion life, he has a lot to offer. He even has that Philostone as well to rush that progress.
Has he even popped Song yet, Natsumi?
No.
I feel like he hasn't even popped the Song yet.
I don't think so. He hasn't needed to, Mike. There's no need. There's no turnaround play they need to do. There's no retreating they need to get done. They just do it with Lelouch rolling around and Force rushing in like a madman.
That or he's got a sore throat here, Natsumi. You know, maybe just not in the singing mood today. Bottom lane. Slowly starting to chip away at the creep wave. Mizu gonna try and slow him down. Very difficult scenario. This is without the heart, by the way. Once Natsumi has the heart up, it becomes impossible. So they go into that mid-tier 2 tower now. Final outer tower standing here for NGXC. With that, they won't be able to find it yet, but it doesn't seem like they're planning on giving up yet. They've still got 2 minutes on that Aegis. Plenty of time to find this mid-tier 2. You might not have time for the tier 3s and high ground, but you can certainly just try and secure the next Roshan if you are Polaris and just continue to increase that net worth gap that you have. And right now, between Natsumi and In Your Dream, you've got a 4k disadvantage here for In Your Dream. He's just picked up a BKB, so another defensive item out. But again, in terms of damage, you've just got none. There is no damage in the Chrono apart from Chain Frost and Firestorm. And at this point, with a heart coming out for the Naga, it's not going to be enough. They need more than that.
Definitely not. He's trying to work onto Mjolnir next, into Yags. So at least with Yags, you've got some safe engage, disengage, especially if you find a shard afterwards. You can have a lot more play. There's that heart you were talking about though, Mike, Natsumi. Fully tanky up now, flying in on the courier. I don't know how you manage this guy. Like, that's going to be, what, 3k HP on him? With Agi power treads? With a lot of healing on hand?
Mizu, he'll be swapped in. He's not as tanky as he used to be. They'll just lock him down with the Rolling Thunder In Your Dream. This time he'll get rid of the Wraith Pact. He has the Chrono, but when do you commit it? He does now. He's got 2 targets. Song is out. It's locking down a couple. The Lich can't get a Chain Frost off in time. The Chrono does nothing. Now the drag back Force. He's just too tanky on the Primal Beast. He is not dying. Pulverized, the Nyx Assassin Jokam gets swished by the Primal Beast. As they have committed everything, and they will find nothing. Buyback's out. Force just says get back. There's no reason to stick around here. They've done their job. We go again. Lelouch onto the Underlord this time around. Swap is out perfectly. Mizu. He's trying, Mizu. He's trying so hard. That'll be, I believe, a dieback on the Underlord. Pulverize was there onto the Lich. No, it was In Your Dream. He does back his way out just fine.
Now you're left with no high ground tools here for the side of NGX. No Chrono for 80, no Lasso for 40. High ground just fully open for Polaris to take, and they just have nothing. None of their ults, none of their high ground hold. If you had your Underlord, maybe you could just spam out that Firestorm and die back. And Mizu just holds off all of that.
dream now without Chrono. It's so hard to find a way to defend. Like, Mizu's down, so you don't have the Firestorm, you don't have the Pit of Malice. They're just gotta watch their mid-racks die. Like Polaris, there's no outer objectives here. They can just keep going. Natsumi's got almost 4k HP on that Naga. Song is up. Jokam, he'll get caught out. Nice swap back from Xavius. That's going to be a Nyx Assassin. Back to the graveyard. As Jokam gets the Abyss off. Where's the detection, boys? Never mind, he's fine. We don't believe in dust in SVA.
No. Who needs dust? Doesn't do damage, Mike, as you like to say. Well, it does slight damage, right? The cancelled win, so there's a little damage, but who needs it? It takes an inventory slot at this point. Natsumi just playing tag. They're trying to slow it down, but
15 seconds for Chrono to be back up. Again, the question is, do they have damage in Chrono? Answer is no. But Polaris, again, they're going to pay their respects. Alacrity, he'll rush, trying to get some kind of punishment onto the Chamber. Lelouch, he'll happily jump back in. A nice impale, though. Jokam, he may have set up a bit of a comeback, but Lelouch, he gets out of there. In your dream, though, he's going to jump right back in with a 3-man Chrono. He's got the Pango. He's got the Venge. Maybe they have got some damage. That'll be Xavius gone. Force will be able to TP out. No bashes to come. But NGXC showing signs of life in this game one.
They find an opening for themselves. They managed to get some good punishment onto players who just kind of overstayed their welcome. Kind of go all in to try to save AU, and Jokam just in a good position. The support's really clearing that out for them. Boomboy and Jokam working together to get that Impale and the Chain Frost in a good spot. They hang on here, NGX. They are 14k behind, but you have the Void. You can hyper-invest into him. That's the full Mjolnir up on In Your Dream. So much more output coming out here on that Face's Void. For the side of Polaris, Natsumi's just going onto the Butterfly. Jokam is tracking here, but doesn't quite have the backup.
Natsumi still playing around here with Jokam, or rather Jokam playing with Natsumi. Just takes the outpost back for his team. And GXC again, not out of this game yet. In Your Dream now working towards an Aghanim Scepter. And speaking of Aghanim Scepters, there's one for Xavius now, so he's got that double life going for himself. The Naga Siren also has a Butterfly up, which is going to be a little bit problematic here for this Void. Don't really have any way to pierce through that evasion. In fact, nobody really does. The thing is, though, like, what we learnt from that last team fight is if you can focus everyone else down on Polaris, like, if you can just ignore the Naga for a little bit, eventually, if she's all by herself, you can certainly take her down. But you've got to get everyone else out of the fight first. Swap is there. Who have they got? Pulverized from a mile away. The Goma Goma no Mi kicking in again here. Boom Boy. He's gone.
You get a decent pick-off. No Chain Frost to worry about. Second Roche going the way of Natsumi. He does have the shard on hand. He does pass it to Xavius. That doubled stun on Venge is a lot more important than the healing right now. So, secondary life plus double missile stun. Gonna be big in the middle of these engagements, and gotta be a little bit careful on NGX. Chrono is back up. I don't know about that lesson, Mike. They killed off, like, other heroes. They didn't touch Natsumi. So they used the Chrono to kill everyone else off. I don't know if you have enough to actually touch Natsumi outside Chrono. In that circumstance, because the Butterfly is there to protect. You don't have the MKB build up on anyone. You could try to lasso after the fact, but it's a lot of HP to try to burn.
I think as long as Natsumi's alone, if it's a 1v5, that's where I think they can kill him. Apart from that, I don't think it's possible, but we'll see. Natsumi has that secondary life as well with the Aegis. That's going to make life even harder. There's a swap out. Alacrity, he'll get caught, but he'll get a lasso off. On to the Venge. Keep in mind, the Axe is available in a very nice song, Natsumi. He's caught In Your Dream and the Nyx Assassin. So the Rolling Thunder is going to make it, at least for the Nyx. In Your Dream, he got the BKB off in time. Onto the Underlord, there's a Chrono. It caught out two of them. The Venge is down. Remnant is out. The Rolling Thunder, it's still rolling, and the Chrono In Your Dream's gone. Oh, that's unfortunate. Fireback is there. Alacrity, he'll try to run back towards the east, but it is not going to pan out for him. Back in onto Natsumi. They're still trying to deal with the Naga Siren. Polaris, a bit of a reset. Let that heart regen kick in for Natsumi first. Don't waste that Aegis. Tier 3 tower once again under siege. Alacrity, he'll continue to try and chip away with this Bat Rider. Swap in from Xavius. He'll get rid of Atos up. Lock him down. Mizu with the BKB, getting the damage out, at least for now, as there's no swap for Xavius to really commit here. In your dream, side the Vice. He gets caught out by Force. Force catches him. That's a dieback on In Your Dream. Alacrity, he'll keep trying to move forward. Pulverize is there from Force. Knock him down. Alacrity, he'll get bashed up. Rolling Thunder out from Lelouch, but he won't catch him. Just trying to zone them out and buy Natsumi the space to find this bottom lane of Barracks. They'll get the Fiend's Gate off. Mizu, right in the middle. There's a lasso back towards the fountain. They've got the Naga Siren, but Natsumi, he's looking to move out of there. Can they lock him down? The gaze is out. Natsumi, he does go down the first time.
He has the song.
He has the song, but can they hold him in this fountain? The flame break, it's mistimed. Oh, they mistime it. Xavius, he had the swap back anyway. Pop the song, Natsumi, he'll be right out of there. Mizu, he says it all with that sad trombone, John. It was rather sad. So close.
Yeah, that's what they need to do at this point. Just drag back with a lasso, but you still have the Venge around with a Remnant. The swap still there to always save in a big way. Now they have to deal with Megas. They do have clear for Megas. At least you have pretty decent enough clear with an Underlord, and I mean, a Bat Rider is kind of alright, but not amazing. Polaris still definitely a leg up. They get a reset out, they back off. It looks like Natsumi is going for the Ags. So your BKB is not going to save you any longer here as well. You've got to root through the BKB, root through the song. Big spike for the Naga to play with. And you get that nice added ability of the Reel In, which we haven't seen yet.
Yes,
you see just how good that is. You do have, what is that? Higher projectile speed coming out now as well. So, it should be interesting.
Here we go. Mid lane, Force. Trample, that's a lot of damage onto Mizu. Force.
Jesus.
Pulverizing him. They've got the Lich as well. Natsumi, he'll cop the Chain Frost. He couldn't care less. Meanwhile, towards the south, AU gonna be chased down. In Your Dream, he'll pop a Chrono for the Chen. Just get something. The ensnare with the Aghanim Scepter. He's not gonna allow the damage. Well, there you go, John. That's one way to deal with Chrono. They will chase down In Your Dream. He will go for a run. Mizu pops the BKB. Alacrity will too. They're onto the Naga. They surround the Naga. They've got the lasso. The swap is there. In Your Dream was the one swapped out though. The Naga dropping low does finally go down. They are fighting back NGXE. Even against Megas. The Megas are in their base as we speak. They're onto the tier 4 towers, but they are still wiping them out. Xavius, he's the last one to go down here. He will drop eventually. But they've got to defend their Ancient. John, it is completely exposed now.
They play that well. Xavius kind of messed up. Didn't manage to break the lasso with a swap. I think he clicked on the wrong hero. So they managed to lock in Natsumi and drag this game on a little bit longer. There is some play left for NGX, but boy, is it a very tough game. Ancient exposed. Nothing left on their high ground, not even the statues here. So Polaris have a pretty clear shot onto that objective. Natsumi never managed to get his song off. And I think this is the point where you might even just consider a casual shard on Naga to reset. You do have to respect the Void. And that is still a Void counter. With the shard up, when you pop the song, you just heal everyone back to full. The damage of the Void isn't that bursty. So you can kind of just prolong it and just cancel out that Chrono once more. Still, NGX, if they can keep splitting these fights this way, force the focus of Polaris to be so split up, they still have a way of angling back to the game. I'd say it's going to take them at least 3 fights like that back to back to kind of win out, you know, like one fight, another fight, and then force buybacks and win that fight to get this game back, because it's just mega creeps with no objectives left. It's very hard.
It's quite literally a happy diff. This is actually the happy diff. Now, NGXE, you got to give props to these guys. They are holding on against all odds, and you see that graph, John, it had given up. Gaben has still given up, by the way. It's still 0%. right? Even with that team fight, Gaben's like,
flatline.
no, I ain't debating anyone. 0%. In we go again. Swap is there. Mizu, he's been caught out. That's a lot of damage. Mizu eventually does go. He's without buyback. Onto the next assassin. They've got Joe Cam. That'll be another. This time, though, he does have buyback. 3-man smoke up. Ancient
Chrono.
exposed, don't forget. Chrono, it is available. He won't commit yet, but he's got the Ags up now, so he can kind of chip away with the Time Walkers in your dream. We'll do so. Onto the Illusion, forcing the roll-up. Onto the Ancient, though. They need to defend this. The Illusions will fall in. Alacrity trying to defend himself, but they're mega creeps. They are not going to die that quickly. The creeps from the Chen coming in now. The Ancient's still competent. Polaris, they'll move in again. Swap is out.
Oh,
They've got in
no.
your dream. Sight device there from Force. Onslaught is out as well. He's got no buyback. That should be it. They'll keep trying. The pulverize on Boom Boy. Into the fountain. The lasso again, but the swap back. Alacrity can't catch him. They are looking for a fountain dive here. Stickers being placed. GG is called. NGXC, they try their absolute best in this game number 1. It's a full team wipe for Polaris. And they will eventually take game 1 of NGXC in convincing fashion. Though I'll tell you what, John, NGXC, they did give us a few moments where we thought maybe, just maybe, there's a comeback to be had.